And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a couple of quick announcements. We're going to have the grand opening for the Orangetown Pickleball Courts on Tuesday, September 19th at 11:30 a.m. That's at Veterans Memorial Park in Orangeburg. We are announcing the Pearl River Farmers Market is going to be, they're calling it the Fall Harvest Festival. There's 4 weekends, 9/23, the 30th, 10/7, and 10/21. They're not going to have it the same, the day of Pearl River Day, from 10 to 2 in the Central Avenue Field. Should be a lot of fun. And then we have some public hearings scheduled for September 26th. The Orangetown Comp Plan, a local law for a proposed zone change for 90 West Madison Avenue in Pearl River, a local law for short-term property rentals like Airbnb and VRBO, and a local law for the South Nyack parking. So that's all scheduled for September 26th. We have some budget presentations that we're going to start with. So the first we have on here is the Blauville Fire District. Are they here yet? Oh, you're right there. Front and center.
In and out.
How'd I miss you?
Hi, excuse me, I was running a little late. We had our board meeting tonight also. We just started, so. My name is Mike Conklin. I'm from the Blauville Volunteer Fire Company. Supervisor Kenny and members of the Town Council. The Blauville Volunteer Fire Company is submitting a budget for the fire protection services of the hamlet town of Blauville for 2024-25 for the amount of $664,400. We choose to exercise and stay under the 2% cap. We work hard to keep our budget low for the taxpayers of Blauville as we use our reserves to reduce the coming year budget. We started doing our SCBAs a year ago for the MP, and moving forward, we're doing one of our other trucks this year. The truck committee is awaiting at this time for a new replacement pumper for our 98. It's due in March of 24, and we have a balance due of $650,000 on that truck, and that will be purchased from our fund balance. I'm glad to say that we've had an influx of new members with our recruitment flyer. Along with that, it brings the cost of new gear, boots at $600 a pair, helmets at $340. The turnout gear itself is $4,300. Gloves are $110. So the cost to put a fireman on the ground is $5,350. Remember that all of our gear has a 10-year life expiration, and this is as an NFPA standard, not something that we come up with. We are also replacing all of our interior firefighters' bailout systems, which were required again by a year, 10-year standard, and it was required by the state of New York that all firefighters have bailout systems. We work real hard with our insurance carrier to keep our pricing down on cancer protection. Along with that part of the program, we have to go through cleaning of our gear, and a lot of modifications have been made to our old gear to protect us from the cancer spots. Also, we have to have our gear cleaned off-site, and that's another cost that's been added to our system. Right now, as you've been hearing on TV and watching the cancer-causing foam, we just had to clean up our 2 pumpers, which just to change 35 gallons of foam out of 2 trucks and dispose of it was $6,000 of hazardous material and cleanup. So New York State and nobody else has ever come across with any kind of cleanup fund. New York State is in the same position as everybody else, and we have stock of old foam that we're going to have to dispose of somewhere down the road, and we don't know what that cost factor is going to be either. So the BVFC is dedicated to continue to provide the best possible service to the community of Blauville, controlling our taxes and controlling where we live and work. BVFC is always ready, 24/7, 365 every year. Respectfully submitted, Mike Conklin.
You got questions?
No questions. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Do we have Rockland paramedics here?
Good evening, Supervisor Kenny and members of the town board. My name is Mark Siegelman. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Rockland Paramedic Services. Unfortunately, Tim Egan, the Executive Director, had a prior commitment and couldn't make the presentation. I think you have the budget that we've prepared and submitted for 2024. We're asking the town for $1,571,715 in funding, which is a break-even budget, which includes not only operational expenses, but a sinking fund capital replacement for every year. We'd like to put money away for a new vehicle, plus equipment that has to be replaced every several years. The actual increase that we request compared to 2023's funding is about 16.42% if you include the $49,412 in sinking fund replacement. And if we don't get that, at least on the operational expense side, the increase is 12.76%. If we would have received for 2023 the $100,000 that we had always received in the past from South Orangetown Volunteer Ambulance Corps, the increase would only be 8% with the capital sinking fund replacement and 5% without the capital sinking fund replacement. Most of our expenses are personnel costs and salaries. We always give an increase every year. We expect our health insurance to increase again in 2024. And there are some variable costs that we're just not sure at this point in time with commercial insurance and workers' comp insurance, what those rates might be going forward in 2024. Our reserves, what we've done in the past is we've been tapping our reserves in order to pay for major capital fund purchases, and then hoping to recoup some of that money and build the reserves back up again from additional funding to be received from the towns. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Annie?
All I have is numbers.
Yeah. I just have a question, and
Sure.
I apologize. I know when I met with, I guess we met with Kevin some time ago, they sold a part of the business or something?
Rockland Paramedic Services had a subsidiary, an ambulance company, Rockland Mobile Care, and that was sold on May 1st.
And so are those proceeds from that sale included in these numbers here? Or is
No, actually, the actual gain on the sale of those assets to another entity who took over the ambulance service was negligible. We had to get out of that business.
Okay.
We were operating at a significant loss, and we could no longer, sustain that, continuing to do the ambulance business. So we're not in that business anymore.
What you sold was the for-profit side of the company.
Correct. No, Rockland Paramedics is a not-for-profit 501c3. That's correct.
Okay. Okay. No, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You won't get it from. And South Orangetown Ambulance Corps? Oh, another one that's right in front of me. I don't see anybody.
Good evening, everyone. First year I need glasses. Had to go back to the car to get them. My name is Pete Romisher from Bluebell, New York. Madam Supervisor, Town Councilman, Rosanna, Jeff. I am here representing the Board of Directors, the officers and members of the South Orangetown Ambulance Corps. We have been the South Orangetown Ambulance Corps' district ambulance since 1957, proudly serving, just as this board is. In 2022, we answered 2,715 calls, 1,822 transports. So far, year to date, 1,807 calls for service, 1,757 transports to date. There's exciting things going on at the ambulance building now that we're behind COVID. We are at the planning board stage of our building expansion. We were at planning board before COVID. We were sent to the zoning board. Zoning board gave us a okay, not in writing, but to go back to the planning board. Our plan is to add 4 bays to our existing structure. We currently operate with 3 first-line ambulances, 1 MCI vehicle, 1 MCI trailer, and we are housing a county trailer that's for the benefit of the residents of the town of Orangetown. Because of our call volume, we are adding a 4th first-line ambulance that's due 4th quarter of this year, and the 2 2015 ambulances that we are running, we will be remounting them in 2024 and 2025 to scatter the purchases. Our current budget request to the town is the $400,000 we've been requesting for multiple years now. The total operating budget of the Corps has increased to $1,124,000. We will, from the revenue recovery program that we have, use $724,000 of that for a net budget request in 2024 to the town of $400,000. Due to the building expansion, due to the adding of the 4th first due ambulance and the remounts, it is the board's decision at this time, and we discussed this with Jeff, to again this year hold on to that $100,000 due to rising costs that we have with these additional capital purchases. I have provided Jeff with our audited financial statements, our line-by-line item expenses, our capital expenditure balance accounts, and anything else that his office requested. And I'm happy to answer any question. And thank you again for letting us provide the service to the residents.
Do a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Do we have someone here from the Nyack Ambulance Corps?
Good evening, folks.
Good evening.
Nyack Ambulance's 2024 budget request is $520,997. $251,000 of that, 204, is to the Nyack Community Ambulance. The remainder, $269,793, goes to Rockland Paramedics. So we're operating 24/7, 365 to the good people of Nyack, South Nyack, and unincorporated Grandview for a grand total of $251,000. We currently have capital fund balances totaling $463,479, allocated between $53,000 new ambulance, $100,000 new rigs, $309,927 capital building improvement and renovation. 2022, we had 1,710 calls to duty. 988 were in the town of Orangetown. 58% in the town of Orangetown, of which you pay 50% of our budget. So that's a pretty good deal. Any questions?
So part of your budget goes back to Rockland Paramedics?
Yeah, more than part of it, more than 50% of it does. Yeah, we need to collect $520,269,793 goes to Rockland Paramedics. We'd be more than happy to give up that contract if you folks like to take it over, believe me. In fact, it might be a little easier now that South Nyack's been disbanded, because I know there was multi-municipal agency agreements that would have had to been entered in, and that was always a difficulty that we face. But anyway, that's where we are.
So their budget to you went up?
We just put 2% over what we paid them last year. Yeah, we're asking you, it's interesting. Our 2012 budget was $491,000. Our 2024 budget is $520,000, an increase in 12 years of $29,645, or better yet, 5.7% increase over 12 years for a total of 0.475% increase. I don't know where you better deal in town you could find that. We're asking for 8% in 2024, half of which comes from Orangetown, half of which comes from Clarkstown. So that would be 4% to you folks. I think you gave us 3.16% last year, as I recall.
Good. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The Orangeburg Library?
Just write it down.
Maybe they do, maybe they have something with Piermont.
Because it's split, they changed the split.
There was something to do.
They changed the split.
Good evening, Ms. Kenny. My name is Grant Zacharias on behalf of the Orangeburg Library. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees. I'm here with the director, Michelle Galli-Lorum. As we have for the past few years, we're asking for a 0% increase with regard to the budget for the year of 2024. I'm happy to report that the Orangeburg Library successfully operates within the budget and provides not just great materials to the residents, but also provides unique and outstanding services in the form of both children's programs and adult programs. Thank you very much.
We're good.
Thank you. Made it easy on us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. Tapan Library?
Good evening, members of the town board. My name is Vicki Caramonte. I am the treasurer this year of the Tappan Library. I am proud to say that we are asking for a 0% increase this year for the 2024 budget, which would be $730,715 raised through Orangetown. With the request of 0, we continue to closely monitor the cost of fuel insurance and other necessary expenses. We have established a capital fund so that we can start to look at what's going on with the building. The building construction is just about 10 years old, so we're looking at making sure that we have money set aside for those larger repairs that are going to start to come up. Unallocated fund balance sits at about $104,865 as of August 31st. We continue to offer wonderful programming to our consumers, to our patrons. Patron forward is always what our goal is. That's it. Kind of keeping it short and sweet tonight.
Yeah,
You're
thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Palisades Library? They broke the trend.
Good evening, Supervisor Kenny and members of the board. My name is Marjorie Galen. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees of the Palisades Free Library, and this is Maria Gagliardi, who is our director. I have to wear my glasses to read this. Our library is committed to providing the best experience to as many community members as possible, while at the same time adapting to changing reading habits. Our population of children and teens is growing, and our program attendance across the board has doubled since pre-pandemic days. Book circulation is up 5% from 2019, and patron visits in 2022 were up 35% from the previous year. Many community members have migrated to ebooks, and we are committed to providing the best experience with our Libby app, which allows patrons to borrow ebooks from the library. Ebooks are substantially more expensive than regular books, and they don't build in-person visits, but they do provide a necessary service that our community values. We hope that you will consider our request for a 4% increase for 2024. Over the past decade, we have spent down our reserve fund from a high in 2012 of just over $600,000 to our current balance of $135,000. We worry that to go too much lower than this would not be prudent in the long run. In addition to increased costs across the board due to inflation, higher IT costs, ongoing building repairs and maintenance, and our struggle to stay competitive with salaries, our health insurance premium is increasing by $33,000 per year, since previous employees covered by spouses' insurance plans were replaced by new employees who need coverage. Thank you for your time, and any questions?
No. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Blauvelt Library?
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Town Supervisor Kenny and members of the Town Council. My name is Michael Andrea, and I'm the president of the Blauvelt Free Library Board of Trustees. With me is our Library Director, Laura Grunberg. We are here this evening to respectfully request the town's funding for fiscal year 2024. The library has seen a dramatic increase in visitors after the gradual easing of COVID restrictions, and we are experiencing over 150 patrons per day. Our notary service, we have 3 on staff for every hour we're open, continues to explode with staff notarizing 12 to 15 notarizations a day with multiple signatures. This is a significant service because we are also open evenings and weekends. In fact, the local banks actually send their clients to us. Our newly renovated community room, and we thank you for contributing to its success, has been in high demand since it reopened in April of this year. Both library-generated programs and outside organizations have availed themselves of the space. A women's investors group, defensive driving classes, NIAC teachers, a Quakers fundraiser, Toastmasters, the Orangetown Environmental Committee, with many more to come. We do not charge for the use of the room and provide setup and breakdown of furniture and equipment, coffee, tea, water, IT support. Once a month, we're having a free movie night with popcorn and a state-of-the-art home theater system with a 98-inch screen and surround sound. Additionally, 5 months ago, in response for what we perceived was a need, we became an Easy Pass on-the-go distributor, one of only 4 locations on this side of the Hudson River and the only one in a library. For the full year 2023, the library expects to spend $1 million with $125,000 related to the cost of renovating the library's aging community room. Full year 2023 funding from external and internal sources is projected to be approximately $1.027 million, which includes $714,000 from the town of Orangetown, $173,000 expected from the South Orangetown School District, and miscellaneous grants and fees fines of $34,000 and $95,000 from our reserves allocated to the community room renovation. We also received $29,000 of grant funding from New York State for the community room renovation. The result of the aforementioned 2020 spending and funding will be a projected full-year surplus of $27,000, only $12,000 when considering the town and school funding. The surplus can be attributed to increased interest income on our reserves, approximately $10,000, and a small increase in miscellaneous grants and lower personnel costs. For 2024, the library is planning on a challenging year. Like everyone else, the library is experiencing increased costs in everything from personnel to utilities. In addition, 2 of the library's employees, our director and senior administrative assistant, will be retiring at the end of the year. We are assuming that hiring replacements will be more costly since there's a high probability we will need to provide health insurance, whereas our 2 current employees are on Medicare. Our 2024 spending plan is approximately $940,000. That's $925,000 for general operating expenses and approximately $15,000 for work updating our children's department. Overall, we anticipate that the library will run a deficit in 2024 of approximately $4,000. Without the $18,000 of projected interest income, the deficit would be closer to $23,000. Thus, our Board of Trustees is respectively requesting a 2% increase, $728,688 total, in our 2024 town funding so that our yearly funding does not fall too far behind our annual expenses. As we have in the past, the library will continue to monitor its general operating expenses closely and address issues as they arise. As for our reserves, we project year-end 2023 balance of $1.2 million, an increase of $27,000 in interest. The Blauvelt Free Library will continue to work with the town regarding its funding needs and reserve balance. The library continues to go above and beyond in providing valuable services to the hamlet and all South Orangetown residents. During these difficult times, our director, library staff, and Friends Group will continue to work together to provide the services and programs that align with the interests of our community so that we remain relevant and vital. Lastly, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the Blauvelt Hamlet, I would like to close by thanking our director, Laura Grunwig, for her tireless efforts in bringing the library into the 21st century. She has played many roles during her tenure, which started in 2011, and has managed several large projects which were badly needed at our library. Her contributions will not be forgotten, and the library will miss her steadfast determination and leadership. Thank you for your consideration, and are there any questions?
I have a question. I don't know if this is really aimed at you or just in general. So your fund balance is going to be 1.2 million.
Yes.
And one of the other libraries said that theirs was going to be 135,000. Is there like a standard that they're, a percentage that we should be? Seems like that's a pretty wide disparity.
Well, there isn't really a standard from the comptroller's office, but for smaller agencies in general, they're expected to have a higher percentage of their budget as a reserves because they are obviously smaller and less able to overcome any, challenges that just arise. So for a town, obviously, you were talking, they say 10 to 15%, but for smaller agencies, it's usually higher than that amount.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you.
No, you good? Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on. We have one discussion item, which is the agritourism Rockland Cider Works proposed local law. So I don't know, we do have a revised version from the last meeting. Does anybody want to, I'm happy to give my thoughts. It's better. I will say it's definitely better than the original one. I still think it's just still too much music. I think to have music every Saturday, Sunday, and every holiday, live music is too much. So I like, I also, I like that we changed it to a number of feet from the property line versus how it was set up before. But if you, let me know what you want to do.
So, I think it's better also. They did cut the music in half from 4 days to 2 days, so it's a step in the right direction. And I think we should set up a public meeting so we can hear from both sides of the public, so that we can formulate our final decision. I think it's an important asset to the community, and I do drive by there 15 times a day and see 2 or 3 cars there, and I can't imagine they're going to last years operating on selling a few tomatoes a day or plants. So I think we got to find a compromise. I think we're heading towards a compromise. I don't know if this is it, but we're heading in the right direction. And I support setting a date for a public hearing so we can hear from the public and get public input.
Great. I agree.
Shocking, Brian. I was shocked that you agreed, but thank you. Thank you for letting me know.
I agree with Paul.
I know you do.
There's a
You've made
compromise.
that
There
very
will be a
clear.
compromise.
So do we have 3 people to set a date for a public hearing? Well, I'm not totally decided either, but I'd like to hear from the public, so I can be decided, and we can finally move this either yay or nay, but get it off the agenda.
Right, just the logistics of it would be, if you get the 3 votes, it would be on to have a public hearing. We have resolutions that we have that set the public hearing for another date. So we don't have resolutions tonight to set the public hearing for a certain time. It would be,
So it'll be on the
for
next
example, it would be
meeting,
on 26 to set a hearing for sometime in the future,
probably in November.
October or November, yeah.
Right, okay. So I vote to
Put it on.
have Rob create that resolution so that we can set a public hearing sometime in, it sounds like November or end of October.
I'll second.
Wait, I'm confused. Is this going on today as a new
No.
item? We'll put it
No,
on
no,
next-
this is more of a, this is not necessarily a motion, this is more of a
Yeah, but I think we're
a poll.
supposed to do this. Okay.
I think we're waiting, if there's, if 3 members are okay with doing that, we'll put it on for the
So we got
26th.
3.
Okay.
Okay.
That's not,
I don't know.
it can still be revised.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, this version was put up, and the question Paul has is, look, are you willing to move it forward? The next step would be on the 26th to set that, to move it forward. I need to know a version that will be distributed, because it has to go to county planning, it has to be circulated. So I need to know the version that you are okay with circulating. You can change it. Don't give me,
yeah,
obviously, as
sorry,
part of the public hearing, it can be changed, but we just need some guidance. Are you okay with either this version, or if you want to make changes between now and 26, certainly let me know. But as of the 26th, I'm going to have a version that will be distributed for everybody to, to
So we're
comment
not really
on.
voting on anything tonight.
No, but yeah,
okay.
Paul has 3 people interested.
Your poll.
My poll.
Yeah.
Okay.
You like that? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. So we're going to workshop, didn't we have a presentation? Where's the present? Did I miss it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Where did I miss it? Where'd I go?
Announcements, presentations. Oh, this one here, the blue one.
I know, but why is it not on our agenda?
Oh, it's not,
They,
Oh, it's an agenda item.
yeah.
yeah, they had made a presentation
Oh, that's right,
already.
you already did a presentation. Okay, good, okay. So we'll workshop our agenda items real quick, which I guess they are going to be number 3, which is accept the petition, the request for zoning text amendment. Do you want them to come up in the workshop?
Yeah, in the workshop.
Okay, why don't you gentlemen come on up and make your presentation in the workshop?
Good evening. My name is Seth Mandelbaum. I'm a partner with the law firm of McCullough, Goldberger, and Stout. Very pleased to be here on behalf of Pearl River Campus LLC, doing business as Hudson Valley iCampus. With me this evening are Jamie Schwartz, the president of the Hudson Valley iCampus, and Patrick Cleary, who is a professional planner retained on the project. And Pat Cleary produced a report that is included as an exhibit to the petition. We have a similar presentation to the one we did back in July. We're happy to run through that quickly tonight, as much as the board would like to see in the public. And then in November, if you do set the public hearing, we'll give a more extensive presentation at that time, of course, for the public hearing. So if the board would like, we can quickly go through this evening, just as an overview.
Quickly sounds good.
Quickly, okay, watch how fast we can do this. We already covered the first one. So just a summary, the proposal is to amend the zoning code to allow hotels and standalone fitness centers as special permit uses on parcels greater than 150 acres, subject to your approval in the LI district. The Hudson Valley iCampus property is about 207 acres, so it meets that criteria. It would establish standards and parking requirements, and also would allow multiple different uses on large parcels of greater than 150 acres. So there's a local law that we worked with Rob on, and that's attached to the petition as well. And with that, I'll bring up Pat Cleary to very briefly go through some of the history and just give a brief overview. And like I said, we can give you a little more detail for the public and for the board when we come back for the public hearing. We're asking you tonight to send this off to the planning board, refer it out to Rockland Planning, the usual zoning amendment referrals, and schedule the hearing for November 14th to give enough time for those recommendations to come back to you. Pat?
Thank you. Good evening, Supervisor Kenny, members of the board. It's nice to see you again. I will be brief. So this timeline gives you a sense of the operation of the campus since Ernest Lederle opened the business there in 1907. The campus grew to be the largest employer of Rockland County, and it has been purchased several times in the past few years, most notably in 2015 by IRG. What I'd like to briefly just show you tonight is how that campus has evolved. So this is a really illustrative photograph. It shows you the operation of the campus at full tilt in 2004. The buildings that are circled in red are buildings that have been removed. Pfizer removed those buildings some time ago. But what I want you to take a look at is the parking lots. That's full operation. Fast forward to today. The parking lots tell the story. It is imperative that this site maintain its competitive edge by some of the zoning amendments that we've proposed before you in our application. And I'll just briefly touch on what they are, two things. So this is an image of what we propose to do. There's a yellow building in the center that we propose to adaptively reuse as a hotel. And then in one of the vacant parking lots, we're proposing a fitness center. The adaptive reuse is of an existing building, and that would be adaptively reused as a Hilton Home Suites hotel. A hotel is a seamlessly supportive use for a campus like this. This is a biotechnical, competitive business enterprise where there's a lot of collaboration that goes on. So folks from Silicon Valley, folks from Cambridge, folks from Singapore are coming to these campuses to collaborate. So it's a logical component for these campuses to provide short-term hotel facilities for those scientists, those people that are collaborating on campuses like this. So this is a logical use, makes sense. Existing building, reoccupying space that's currently underutilized. Second use is a state-of-the-art fitness center. So again, trying to amenitize these campuses is important. If you think of these facilities elsewhere in the country, if you think of the Googleplex, if you think of Apple Park, loaded with amenities, while this site is rich in history, like the sign in front of this building says, it lacks those amenities to make it really competitive and to maintain it as the best-in-class technical campus in the region. So a health club. What we're proposing is a new building. It would be in that vacant parking lot. It's about 200,000 square feet, state-of-the-art fitness center. I'd like to point out that image I showed you earlier that showed those red circles of buildings that had been removed, about 300,000 square feet of building were removed. We're proposing a 200,000 square foot building. So we're only replacing a portion of buildings that have already been removed on the campus. Fairly benign improvement. And that's a very brief summary. I'm happy to go into further detail, but that's where we're going with this, and that's why we're doing it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do you know where the hell?
And that's time. That's really our overview. Again, we're happy to answer any questions or come back, after we go off to planning, we'll see what questions they have and then be ready to give a deeper presentation at the public hearing.
Can I ask you a question that really has nothing to do with your proposal?
Sure.
Where does the helicopter land when it goes there?
Jamie, let me go back to the current image. Do you want to use the pointer and show us?
We just got, we get notice whenever a helicopter's going to
Actually, it's
land,
not
so we just got one this week that a helicopter was going to be landing.
You can't see it there, but it's across the train tracks on the other side.
Oh, it's
all
on
the
the
way
other
up
side.
here?
Well, if you go back to the one with the little circles, maybe you can see it.
Yeah, 'cause there's a
There you
bigger
go.
view. It's like up.
It's across the train tracks.
Okay, it's
So
way up there.
Up here
Okay.
somewhere,
Yeah.
all the way up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way up there.
And that's
So-
your property or Pfizer's? That's your, oh, it's Pfizer's, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this-
Thank you.
This is the current. Okay.
Yeah, we're good, thank you.
Okay, appreciate the time.
So that's number 3.
Can we vote on that now?
We'll do a workshop, yeah, we'll do. And that's 3 and 4, right? And then 5, we have the authorization for the Christmas lighting through the holiday lights in downtown Pearl River. Number 6, this is to establish the farmer's market. Everything we just, so to the extent we connected with the gentleman that runs the Piermont Farmers Market, who's had a successful farmers market, so he's guiding us through this process. Hopefully, it's more successful than our last one. Number 7 is the items placed on the agenda by 3 council members, Batari, Divany, and Donahue, and that's to approve the PBA contract. Number 8, grant permission for Jim Deed to attend the annual conference in Verona, New York. Number 9, approve an RFP for the ductile iron sprinkler water main installation to the lowest qualified bidder, which is $31,900. This is for highway, so I don't know if anybody has any questions, we could ask Jim. Number 10, appoint Kevin McGarvey to the maintenance supervisor in the sewer department effective September 13th. And then we're going to combine and approve items number 12, which is all land assistance. So Pearl River Auto Show, September 17th. Rockland County GAA FDNY versus NYPD event on September 23rd. Pearl River Middle School Color Run, September 30th. And the Pearl River Day Festival on Central Avenue, October 14th. What do you want to do? Oh, take a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then we have this accept and file documents. Okay, we're going to take a real quick break. We're going to take a 5-minute break, so just if you can bear with us.
We need more cups.
Do we have cups for? Might let anybody, if people here for the budgets. It should be on the other side, right there, no? Well, you're pretty high. Oh, you're trying to go down.
Yeah. I should have just switched.
There's like 4 different handles under there.
This one, and his has none, I don't think. I don't think he's got it.
This one doesn't have.
I don't think he's got it. He doesn't.
Don't worry about it. I can manage. You just push it up for a minute.
Oh, no. Mine has like all different handles.
Yeah, his does too.
I had to move the back.
They were really nice. I want to tell Jane told us at the firehouse, we had the firehouse for an 11
There you go.
They have like chairs like that, but they
Yeah.
don't have
Don't worry about it, Brian. That's fine.
The guy sitting next to me.
Yeah, positive.
They're pretty nice, aren't they? And I was like,
They were good.
I got a nosebleed to go up and down.
Those were comfortable.
Okay, so everybody's back?
This is yours.
Yeah, okay. So can I get a motion to open the public comment?
Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody want water? We have water here.
No, thank you.
Water? Okay. So we're gonna open up the public comment. Just gonna remind everybody, there's a 3-minute rule, so Allison will do her best to time you. The first person that signed up, but I'll open it up to anybody, so if you want to speak and you didn't sign up, that's fine. Daniel Radman? Yep, you can come on up to the podium right here. Thank you.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you back.
That's okay, I'm sorry. I'll try. Oh, did I turn this on?
Yeah, hi, my name is Dan Radwin, I'm a veteran, and my wife and I have lived in Orangetown for about over 45 years now, and we visit our Veterans Park, our beautiful Veterans Park, almost every day. And we find that when it's getting a little dark later on in the evening, that people are having trouble seeing their way around the park or the pond. And we're afraid for safety and visibility purposes that somebody could fall in or somebody could jump out of the bushes or something bad could happen, and that our lighting would be a very good idea to have some good lighting in that area of that pond. Now, it seems like the pickleball people have it and the basketball people have it, but the pond people don't have it. And my wife and I were working very hard to promote this idea to the town and have them, for safety's sake. We have signatures of about some 50 people. And my wife has worked very hard to get people walking around, and they're all very, very positive, and they're all for it. There was nobody that said we don't want it. They all wanted it. So I'm just making that proposal to the town, and I hope you listen to us and help us out here.
Okay,
So-
the names that you have, are you ready to submit them to the town, or are you still holding on to them and getting more, or?
The names?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have a list. My
Okay.
wife is going to speak also.
okay.
She's really the forerunner here. I'm just a backup.
Thanks for the warning.
So she's done all the work. I'm just helping her out.
Okay,
Okay?
very good.
Well, thank you very much for your attention.
Okay. Bonnie Radwin?
Good evening. My husband and I, as we said, have lived in Pearl River for 45 years. We're married 62 years, right in Rockland County. We are very unhappy with having no lighting around the pond lake. We have one member, we call ourselves the Veterans Friend. We're the Friends of the Park. And we're doing it for safety, and we come to the park also to socialize. Because with COVID, my husband and I don't see anybody, we have no family here, and we try every night that we can to go to the park. And we stay, sometimes you won't believe this, but we stay, the rangers will tell you, we stay maybe till 10 o'clock at night. And we have no lighting. And we have one couple, he is 96 and she's 98. And he said to me this week, "Excuse me, Bonnie, but I've went around the park 3 times and I have to do 4 times." And he's 96 years old.
He's putting us to shame.
You can imagine. So, and also we all know that walking is the best exercise. And that's what we're trying to do. So we enjoy the social part for our health, but we also enjoy the physical of walking around the lake. And like my husband said, everybody has lights. The dogs have lights. The basketball people have lights. The pickleball people have the most fabulous, you keep extending it and extending it and extending it. They have lights, right? And there was a man there with 2 little kids. his little kids were on the other side of the lake where the road is, and he was in a truck, and he put his lights on this week to shine it on his two little kids on the other side of the lake. But it doesn't go across. A truck light is not going to go across the lake. And another lady, she said to me, you know, twice I've had somebody come out of the bushes and scare the life out of me, and I ran like crazy. So these are the things that we really take very seriously. We feel we're taxpayers, we're seniors, we deserve to have some lighting. I don't expect to have lighting, 3 stories high like you have burning, but we do expect to have lighting. We have a nurse, she works across the river in Westchester at Phelps Memorial Hospital. She comes when it's dark, and she walks around the lake. And you can't even see her. She's walking in the dark. So we would appreciate it. We're not asking for giant lights. We're just asking for lights that will shine when it starts getting dark. And now the days are getting shorter. And we feel that we need for safety. It's really mostly for safety that we need it. And also, for anyone who doesn't know, the path around the lake then sharply goes down into the lake in a couple of feet. If you're walking around the lake and you lose your sight, you're going to fall right into the lake, because that's how close the path is. So we would appreciate it if you would consider this. We're not expecting anything, that's going to be tremendously expensive. But
So I just want to, you have the signatures.
I have the signatures, and I want to tell you, this is unbelievable. I have, and I'm going to keep getting them. I have over 75 signatures within a week. And this is what's really interesting. I went over to strangers mostly. I saw them, not one person, and this is the truth, said no to me. Every single person that I have here with these 3 sheets said, what a great idea.
Okay, I think your time is up.
Right.
So just, when you're ready, you can submit that to the town clerk. If you don't want to submit it tonight, but when you have the
Yeah, I
signatures.
will. And I wanted also you to know that the grandparents of the little boy who's 12 years old, the little boy 12 years old made these petitions for me, these forms for me.
Right.
So
Very
I thought
good.
that was wonderful. I did not make them.
Okay,
He did.
thank you, thank you. Next, we have John Mooney.
I don't have too much to say. Dan and Bonnie said everything. My name is John Mooney, and my wife, and we live in Meyer Oval. And we moved to Pearl River a whole year ago. And we're excited to discover Veterans Park. Like many in Pearl River residents, we enjoy walking the path around the pond in the evening and have met many friends there. In a sense, the path has been the greatest factor making Pearl River feel like our new home. I'm here today to ask that lights be installed for safety, as the evenings are getting dark and safety is a concern for many of our friends and neighbours. Not all the people use the path for exercise and relaxation. Among my friends, we have met Bob, age 95, and June 96. Bob and June have a bench along the path dedicated to them. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so that's the last name that I have signed up. Okay, so if anybody else wants to speak, just Sharon.
Good evening, Town Supervisor and to the Town Board. Thank you for allowing me to speak. First of all, with Van Houten's in my 40-plus years being associated with Van Houten's, my name is Sharon Van Houten, 551 Belleville Road. I've been associated with Van Houten Farms for 40-plus years. They've always been a seasonal enterprise. they've always been, the farm was never, ever going to float by the farm by itself. It was always floated by the farmers markets in the city. And that's the only reason the farm is still standing. I know with the stables being there, that helps with them paying their taxes, but the farm has always just floated with the farmers markets in the city. So when you see a car or two and they're only buying 2 tomatoes, in the city, they're making a lot more money than you can imagine. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So with my 40-plus years in Van Houtens, I've always known that that farm was always just floated because of the markets in the city. That being said, I wanted to say really quick, the property we're all speaking about with RCW and Van Houten Farms is and has been in litigation between Jim Van Houten, my husband Chris Van Houten, and I since March 25th, 2018. This pending litigation will most likely be in court for the next year or more until a judge determines the outcome of the ownership of this property. Since July 14th, 2021, Jim put into a trust with Darren and Elizabeth the farm, which is known as Trustees of Van Houten Farm Market Benefit Trust. By doing this, Jim has acted in bad faith against our pending litigation. This breach of a legal duty to act in good faith with us and our lawsuit has been noted and recorded with the Supreme Court. Until a judge determines in court our lawsuit, how can you pass this law or even have a vote and give them permission to proceed with the cidery when most likely we will have to divide the property and RCW will have less to work with? Darren and Elizabeth should not have taken possession of this property at this time, and this vote must wait until our pending lawsuit with Jim is completed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next person that want, Jerry.
Is there a timer anywhere?
Allison-
Do you mind if I
Allison-
get my phone so I can see what the time is? Is that okay?
Yeah. Do you want to just vote on number?
Jerry Goggins, 66
This guy,
Sickle
Jerry.
Road.
Real
I just
quick.
want to make sure that I know.
Jerry, would you mind just,
We
yeah.
got the.
We're just going to vote on this item so these gentlemen can get out of here real quick. if
Oh,
you
I'm
don't
sorry,
mind.
okay.
No, you
No,
can
it's
sit
not
down.
your fault.
That was us.
That was us. You don't even have to sit down, okay. Okay, so we're just going to real quick jump to agenda item number 3, accept the petition request for zone text amendment and direct circulation of the proposed local law for the hotel and standalone fitness center in an LI zoning district.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then real quick, we'll go to number 4, set the public hearing on the proposed zone text amendment for LI District Hotel and Standalone Fitness on November 14th, 2023.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there you go.
Back up. Mr. Guy.
You can go back up now, sorry about that. I just didn't want to let them,
Yeah.
That didn't come out of my time, did it?
No.
Okay, that's good. All right, so a couple of things. A while ago in 4/13, April 13th, Jerry Goggins, 66 Sickletown, I beg your pardon, Rosemary. April 13th, 2023, LaBerge returned a document to you. LaBerge being the planners that you hire for a number of items around the town, right? And that requirement said, that proposal recommended principal buildings be set back 175 feet, accessory buildings be set back at least 150 feet. All outdoor dining areas such as decks, patios should be set back 200 feet. All temporary facilities such as tents, dance floors, sound systems, or location of live entertainment shall be set back at least 200 feet, all from the property lines. Now, what we're looking at in this current proposal is they've retained the 50 feet for parking setbacks. That's great, although, as we've heard, the property is in litigation right now. But they're proposing a setback of 35 feet everywhere else. 35 feet for a music and live music and open bar venue that consistently generates volumes of over 70 decibels, quite frankly. And I know that because I've been out in the garden and measured it on numerous occasions. I mean, so what I'd like to understand is how did these numbers change from 175, 150, 200 recommendations from your selected town planner to 35, a sixth the size?
a reduction by a factor of 6. It doesn't make sense. In the LaBerge document, the maximum capacity of guests for the proposed agricultural use shall be 25 persons per acre, based on the areas shown in the site plan, exclusive of other uses. RCW's proposal doubles that and trebles it for R80 properties. This is not an R80 property, but I suspect you're going to hear some things about R80 properties in a minute. What's the reason for doubling it? I mean, this is a recommendation from your selected town planner, and yet it's been doubled. And in addition, there's no limitation on the total number of people on the site at all. So I could have 500 people on the site. That would be pushing it, I agree. And I could claim 350 of them were there because they were there for the garden center. How are you going to tell the difference? How is that even enforceable? It's ripe for abuse, but it's not clear to me that it can be enforced in any way. How long do I have left, please? Oh, Jesus. Okay, pardon me. Well, I'm going to have to stop there because I have a bunch of other points, but I will come back and make them in the next meeting. And I just want to say in closing, the current proposal really doesn't change a whole lot about the current situation. It actually allows them to go into business. It doesn't change what was there before, except they're not going to be running it 4 days a week. And it's as if the concerns we've raised are really of no importance or, matter to you. That's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, next.
Thank you for hearing me. Joyce Taub, Sickle Road. I must say that it's been a peaceful summer in the neighborhood surrounding Van Houten Farm, and our family has enjoyed shopping at the garden center. We've discovered their delicious pickles, and if there's not a full quart in our refrigerator when our son comes to visit, he'll drive over while his car engine is still warm just to make sure there's enough pickles for the weekend. We love our local garden center. Having said this, our objections to RCW have only gotten stronger since going through this summer without having to deal with the huge burden of having an entertainment venue in our backyards. RCW has continued to water down the setbacks and other guidelines originally outlined by the experienced planning group hired by the town to assess this law. However, RCW's operators have offered no documentation demonstrating how these changes to LaBerge's guidelines will make RCW a better or safer neighbor. RCW's most recent submission makes no substantive changes to its previous physical operation, leading us to believe that the neighbors' concerns are simply being ignored. During the 2 events held at RCW last October and November, members of the Police Department, County Highway Department, and the Town Fire Marshal were all called due to chaotic and dangerous situations created. The police officers and Highway County employees were cursed by angry RCW customers. The result was a series of no parking signs being installed on a section of Sickletown Road by the County Highway Department. These are just some examples of the types of long-term resource drain that the town can look forward to if such a law is passed and RCW is allowed to reopen. Previously, I've spoken of the disruption to our private lives with the creation of RCW and the danger to anyone driving around the location of the cidery when it's in use. There's nothing in the recent proposal that remedies these issues. RCW's business is just as much a major disruption to its neighbors, if not more so, as the party house on Hobbs Drive. Just as those property owners of that neighborhood did, we turn to this board for an objective rejection of RCW's restart. Let us stop spending time and monetary resources to allow one rogue commercial business to operate in a residentially zoned neighborhood against our zoning laws. To pass this law and reopen RCW is to reward an illegally operated business while punishing law-abiding, tax-paying owners. This is not the way to establish Orangetown as a premier residential neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else want to speak that hasn't had a chance? There you go.
Hi,
Hi, good evening. My name is Sheehan Haley, and I'm a South Nyack resident, 126 Piermont Ave. So, should be obvious from my address that I'm not a direct neighbor. So I'd like to note that I am a registered voter and a taxpayer within Orangetown, and that automatically entitles me to care about an issue that is not in my backyard. The proposed change to town law that would permit Rockland Cider Works to operate in a residential neighborhood, I think is reckless. These zoning laws are written precisely to prevent this type of overstep. And while there are times when zoning exemptions are absolutely necessary, this is not one of those times. The consequences for homeowners in this area are just simply too dire. These consequences include, but are not limited to, issues of personal safety, personal property safety, property values, traffic safety, and noise and light pollution. Eroding the existing town zoning laws in favor of allowing RCW to operate within a residential neighborhood defies several of the primary purposes of zoning laws in and of themselves, most notably to promote public health and safety and maintain the character of neighborhoods. Kept it short and sweet. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you all for your service.
Thank you.
Anybody else who has not?
Thank you, and good evening. As the law proposed and developed by RCW and up for discussion tonight is a local law, I would like to ask the community as well as the town board to consider the following points and accompanying questions. Earlier this year, the town contracted with the LaBerge Group to review the law written by RCW. RCW's current version of the proposed local law permitting farm wineries and farm cideries to open in residential neighborhoods disregards much of the work done by LaBerge. Given the LaBerge Group's expertise in this area and the fact that this would be a town-wide law, it would be useful to know what metrics RCW has used in removing so many of LaBerge's recommendations. Most of the dialogue around this issue has focused on one property, that of Van Houten Farms, and one farm winery, that of Rockland Cider Works. The agenda for tonight, for example, describes this item as agritourism/Rockland Cider Works. I am not sure whether a discussion item has ever been called something like legalizing farm wineries and farm cideries in R40 and R80 residential neighborhoods in Orangetown. That's a mouthful. Yet this is exactly what this law does. Do the residents of Blauvelt, Nyack, Spark Hill, Piermont, and Palisades support the development of cideries in their neighborhoods? It appears that there are at least 8, if not more, additional properties that could open cideries. All have the potential property, and I wonder if the potential properties have been mapped and assessed. Given that most of these properties are located on 2-lane, windy, and at times steep roads, have any assessments of traffic and parking safety been made? As a farm cidery license also is permitted under this law, while nearly identical in function to a farm winery, it does not require a farm location. There may be many more properties than we are aware of that are viable locations. How can the town broaden this discussion so that Orangetown residents who may not understand the issue be made aware of the broader impact? Is it a good idea to force farm wineries and farm cideries that wish to open in Orangetown into R80 and R40 residential neighborhoods? Out of the roughly 100+ farm wineries and farm cideries operating in New York State, those that are not operating in rural areas are nearly all, if not entirely all, located in industrial, parks, and commercial districts. Given that Rockland County sets the laws regarding the hours that businesses can sell and serve alcohol, how will the town limit the hours of cideries throughout Orangetown? The saloon's rooftop bar is open until 2 a.m. How would the town legitimize a separate set of operating hours for cideries? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carolyn Rash, 40 Sickletown Road. I'm a resident of Pearl River for the last 30 years. I love where I live. It's nice and quiet, nice residential area. I walk my dog. But lately, the last 2 years when the farm was working, side works, it was very dangerous. My husband and I almost got hit by cars many times because they're riding to go and get into the cidery. Also, my husband stated this a while ago, and I'm stating it again. One of the patrons of Rockland Ciderworks was drunk on my yard. He was out. We had to call the police. He couldn't walk. He was all wobbly, and it was unsafe for him to walk back to his home. Also, when we went to the city, to all these farm markets, we would see, the farm. They would come to these farm markets, and they would be busy. And then my mother-in-law, who used to live in the Bronx, she would see them at other farm stands. And also, why is it our responsibility to make them stay in business? Yes, we like the farm, but it's not our responsibility. This is a neighborhood. It's not for a cidery. The farm is great. We love the farm, but not the cidery. We're afraid. I'm afraid at night to walk out of my house when the farm is open. And also, I live 2 blocks away from, am I finished? 2 blocks away from the cidery. And I'm afraid to go out there by myself, when it works. And the music, I hear it. Like, I don't even need a radio. I hear it in my backyard, 2 blocks away. So this is how I feel. The farm is great. We love the farm, but the cidery, they could go to so many other spots. The Rockland Psych right next door, there are plenty of open spaces. They could go there, not near homes. Not where homes where children are, not where homes where, our values and home values could go down. We feel very strong about this, and I really appreciate you allow me to speak. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak that has not had a chance to speak? No? Going once? Going twice? Okay, can I get a motion to close?
Moved. Second.
Tom, moved. Jerry, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. What's that? That's okay? Oh, no. You moved. So we did 3 and 4 already, right?
No.
Okay. Okay. Number 9, nice easy one. Can we get authorization? Yeah, that's a nice easy one. I think we did it. We did. No, I said 5, a nice easy one. Authorization for Christmas lights. I can't believe we're talking about Christmas lights already, but yes. So can I get a motion to authorize the Christmas lighting company to put the lights in downtown Pearl River?
Motion.
Brian, move second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 6, a motion to establish a farmer's market and approve the agreement with Piermont Creekside Enterprises to run the farmer's market in Pearl River. Tom Diviny move, second.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Paul, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Number 7, can we get a motion to approve the memorandum agreement? We're going to need a roll call on this. Okay. A memorandum agreement for the PBA contract for 2023 to 2027. Tom Diviny move, second.
Second.
Jerry Vitari. On a roll call?
Roll call. Yes. Yes.
Councilman Paul Valentine.
I abstain.
Councilman Jerry Vitari.
Yes.
Councilman Brian Donahue.
Yes.
Supervisor Tricia Pett.
I'm going to vote no, but I do have some comments, which I think was to be expected. So while I'm disappointed that with this contract settlement, I'm certainly not surprised. I think there's a lot of issues with it. First being, it's a 5-year agreement, and, the parties had gone to arbitration, because that's always what we hear. If you go to arbitration, we're gonna lose. The arbitrator can only legally impose a 2-year agreement. So I don't know why we did a 5-year agreement, and just basically prevented a future town board the opportunity to try to negotiate some concessions from the PBA. And in looking at this agreement, that again, I had no involvement with, there's really no concessions from current employees. There's absolutely no concessions. I mean, if you want to call it a concession, the one thing they gave us is that they have to put their primary check in a direct deposit, but they can still demand a second paper check, physical check. So that's their big concession. They're not going to ask for 3 or 4. They're going to just ask for one other check. They're limited to 2. And then these longevity increases, I mean, they're huge. I mean, they went from year 6, they go from 2,000 to 3,000. That's a 50% increase. In year 10, it goes from 3,300 to 6,000. That's almost an 80% increase. In year 16, it goes from 5,000 to 9,000, 80% increase. And in year 20, a 92%, from $63,000 to $12,000. Again, without any concessions from current employees. But I think really for people to understand it, because you look at these numbers and it looks like it's whatever. A grade 1 police officer, so that's once they hit 5 years on the job, their base salary for this year is going to be base salary, no overtime, no uniform allowance. It's going to be $144,000. Next year, with longevity, it'll be $150,000, $743 to be exact. $154 in 2025, $158 in 2026, and by year 2027, $162,000 as a base salary for an officer here, just with the 5 years. And they won't be contributing to their health benefits, which current estimates are saying they may be upwards of $50,000 within 10 years. I think right now it's $38,000, so it's not a far stretch that the taxpayers are going to be paying. So I guess their big concession was the new employees. If they don't take the health insurance, they'll get $9,500 versus the current employees who get paid 35%, over $13,000 not to take insurance. Again, at the taxpayers. So, at the end of the day, the budget, we're working with the budget. I had Jeff run real quick numbers. The 2023 budget on salaries and overtime for the police department is $14.5 million. In 2024, it's going up to $15.3 million. That's just salaries and overtime, $15.3 million. So again, I think one of the most important things I have to say is that tonight I'm tired of having to defend myself, that by demanding some concessions and what I see as fairness, I get beat up as being anti-police and other nonsensical statements that are being said all around town by certain members of our PBA. But just because I believe a fairer result could have been achieved through a more formal negotiation process. So I think asking the new police officers to contribute to the health benefits like every other police department in New York City outside of Rockland County. Outside of Rockland County, like the teachers do, like all the elected and appointed officials do, and like a majority of our CSEA do, is not being anti-cop. I think it's someone that's really looking just for our police to pay their fair share, and appreciate what their neighbors and the taxpayers are going to have to pay. So as the budget, it's done, I know it's done, but as we enter the budget, it's going to make our job that much harder to keep it under the tax cap.
Well, going with the budget, any raises will be in line with the police raises. So anyone who wants to raise their departments, it'll be at the same rate as the police department. Because I know there's a lot of 15 and 10% out there, so we'll go forward like that.
And I just want to clarify why I abstained. I abstained because I have a son and a son-in-law in the police department, and in talking with our chairman of our ethics committee, it was recommended that I abstain from any negotiations or the vote. So I'm just clarifying why I abstained, and I have not been part of the negotiations or the vote.
Okay, number 8, grant permission to Jim Dean to attend the 2020.
No,
We did. Yeah, remember, yeah.
No,
I said no.
we did.
Oh, we did,
yeah, we
we did roll call, I'm sorry.
You want to do it again? Number 8, grant permission for Jim Dean to attend the 2023, some kind of highway conference in Verona, New York. Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You got that, Rosanna? It was Paul, okay. Approve the RFP for a ductile iron sprinkler water main installation at a cost of $31,910 on the recommendation of the Highway Department. Motion? Tom Timoney moves, second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 10, appoint Kevin McGarvey to the position of Maintenance Supervisor, grade 20, step 813, effective September 13, 2023. Motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to combine and approve agenda items number 12 through 15? Again, it's the Pro Roto Show, I think we know them, are the GAA, the Middle School Color Run, and Pro River Day. Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Number 16, accept and receive and file in the town clerk's office some town board meeting minutes. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
On the audit?
Okay, the audit for tonight's meeting consists of 4 warrants for $3.4 million. Items of interest, number 1, JP Morgan Equipment Finance, $53,000 for the energy performance contract. Number 6, Troon Golf, $190,000 for both golf course maintenance contracts for August. Number 2, Atlantic Salt, $79,000 for highway salt. Number 6, Capasso, $90,000 for recycling. Number 7, Chestnut Ridge, $53,000 for summer bus transportation. Number 9, Fanshawe, $224,000 for new town hall electrical. Number 10, Fleet Pump and Service Group, $62,000 for replacement pumps at Nyack Pump Station. Number 11, Gabrielli Truck Sales, $134,000 for highway equipment, bonded money. Number 13, Joe Lombardo, Heating and Cooling, $35,000 for new town hall plumbing. Number 18, S&L Plumbing and Heating, $22,000 for new town hall HVAC. Number 20, Troon Golf again, $190,000 for the golf courses for September. Number 21, Vanis, $1.3 million for new town hall GC. And number 23, Virtuit Systems, $118,000 for new town hall IT. Any questions on the audit?
No. Motion to accept the audit?
Moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I know we do need an executive session. The town attorney would like to speak with us on ongoing litigation. So we will not be coming out to vote on anything. So we do have some adjournments in memory. We have Edward Dempsey, a resident of South Nyack, and brother of Orangetown employee Eileen Fitzpatrick, Joseph McKenna, resident of Tapan, and Mary Ann Spagna Quirk, a former resident of Blauvelt. So can I get a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Second? I think he seconded.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.